All right, welcome back to the podcast. We are recording this Sunday afternoon at 4:30, before the Thunder Spurs game tonight. Got an awesome episode lined up for today. I'm really excited about this one, and to do it with Tristen here. Before we get started, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please follow or rate the podcast, and if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. Today we're breaking down the Eastern and Western Conference Finals, both of them. Two awesome series, with the OKC Spurs series probably being the best conference finals series of my lifetime. So excited to talk about that one. Got an absolutely hilarious brand new game as well called Real or Fake Sports Quotes. I'm going to quiz Tristen on 10 sports quotes and ask him if the quote is made up or if somebody actually said it. That segment will be hilarious. You will not want to miss it. I can promise you that. We are going to have a couple NBA discussions as always. One of them is going to be the East versus West debate. We just want to figure out what conference is better, kind of where it's going, that whole thing, where that's at. The other one, we're going to take a trip through NBA nostalgia. Always a fun subject. The players, moments, and eras. Just go through them and talk about, is it ruining today's game? Is it not? Thing of that sorts. And then later, we're also going to launch our segment called Culture Check. This week, we're going to be doing a segment about social media and if it is or isn't ruining our culture and our daily lives and how it is or it isn't. So lock in. Let's go. Back to discuss it with me once again. Tristen is back. Tristen, what a great time to be a sports fan.
Yes, sir. What a great time. What a great playoff season. Best series I've ever seen. Spurs OKC. Excited to talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. So that game's tonight. The most recent game that we went over was, or that we were able to see, was the Knicks Cavs game 3. So we will start there, and then we'll go over the Spurs series. So the Knicks, 1 win away.
Yeah.
1 win away from the finals, man. Just another dominant whipping. 121 to 108. Commanding 3-0 lead. Jalen Brunson, once again, just magnificent. I mean,
Yep.
had complete control of the game. Had an answer for everything Cleveland threw at him, and I mean,
Yeah.
just solving everything Cleveland has.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going about how I expected. Knicks are playing offense at their highest level, like I said before. I have to give Mike Brown credit for coaching this offense as well as he has since the end of the Atlanta series. It's been looking in top form. Obviously, the notable has been Jalen Brunson, dropped a 30-piece last night. Been just playing incredible offense. Their defense was, for me, I think it was the best game one, especially with that 22 deficit comeback. Jalen Brunson has been a liability on defense the last 2 games, but again, with him dropping the offense at the elite level he's playing it, it's not really going to matter. He's earning his keep on the floor, obviously, as the stars of this Knicks team. And then the Cavs, man, they're just falling apart. You saw them blow a 22-point lead in game one. It should never have happened. That should never happen, especially to a team as good as the Cavs are. But it did, and it gave the Knicks momentum. They're up 3-0 in the series. I also got to shout out Cat for, again, I've said this the last couple, but he's just been an insane role player for this team. You've seen him kind of take a step back and become a role player for this Knicks team. He's been off the pass a lot. He's he's playing wing very well, playing the post very well. So shout out Cat. He's not hogging any spotlight. He's playing his post well. He's playing good defense down on the other side of the ball. So shout out the Knicks.
Yeah. Shout out the Knicks is right. You can just see, man, every single player on this team right now is just playing their role, like
Yeah.
exactly how they were designed. Bridges
Yep.
has got his act together. He's taking great shots. Cat is playing within the offense so well. Like, the other thing with Cat too is he's not only like giving more effort and just playing better fundamental defense. He's
Mhm.
not giving us those 100 fouls a game that are
No.
like 94 feet from the hoop, like completely on the other side. Like, no dumb fouls or anything. Like, this is the Cat that complements the Knicks insanely well. And he's just
Yeah.
awesome to have on your team. And honestly, a player that plays like Cat is playing right now can work on any single team and can help them get very deep in the playoffs. Game 3, Brunson, 30 points. We talked about it. Bridges and
Yep.
Anunoby, 22 points, 21 points.
Yeah.
If your second and third and fourth guys are playing like that, especially with, Josh Hart had that performance in game 2. Like I said, these role players are just coming through. They're doing their job.
Yeah.
And like the Knicks, just the overall rhetoric about the series is, and I've obviously been fearful of this or that. Whoever wins the East is just going to get killed in the finals. I think obviously the winner of the West is going to be favored in the finals, which at this point is looking like OKC. But I think the Knicks do have a way better chance now than we thought that they did before. I mean, they they're if they've lost 2 games in the playoffs by 1 point. Other than that,
Yeah.
they're undefeated, and that's
Mhm.
that's got to count for something. I mean, um, they beat Detroit in 7 games. Cleveland beat Detroit in
Yeah.
7 games, and Detroit was the 1 seed, and the Knicks are just wiping the floor with Cleveland. Like
Yeah.
it's all got to count for something, and I really think we have a good shot in the finals. What are your thoughts on that?
Um, I do think that this series will be a sweep, against the Cavs. When it comes to the finals, I do think they're playing OKC, and I do not see them winning the series 1. I see them going down in probably 5, maybe 6 if I'm being generous. And that's not to take away from the Knicks, OKC, which we'll talk about OKC, but OKC is just incredible.
Yeah.
But no, as far as the Knicks go, they're playing. I don't think we've seen this level of playing from them at all this season. I think
No.
just this offense has really come together and shown. And again, I got to give credit to Mike Brown. Where credit is due, man. He's coaching this offense extreme. Honestly, the defense too. He's coaching them extremely, extremely well. Higher than my expectations ever were. I'm sure yours as a Knicks fan. I'm
Oh
sure your
yeah.
expectations were pretty low as well. Um, yeah, so the Knicks are they're playing incredible, incredible basketball right now, incredible team basketball. It's a lot of fun to watch. And Cleveland doesn't really stand a chance, especially with how bad the Cleveland's playing. You don't want to discredit that either. Um, yeah, Cleveland playing very bad basketball. Their 2 stars, James Harden, Spider Mitchell, not showing up when they should. Their bigs, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, really keeping them in every game, and it's not enough for them
Doing good.
down the stretch.
The
So yeah,
the bigger issue right now with Cleveland's roster is their shooters are all terrible right now. They have
yeah,
they have no role players showing up at all. Like Sam Merrill, he hasn't
yeah,
shown up. Like just
yeah.
hasn't. He had that one
Max Truess hasn't either.
exactly. Just
Yeah,
these they had both of them had one good game and now they just have seemed to disappear. The the big thing as well, the Cavs bench, they just have nothing coming off the bench.
yeah,
Um they like pretty much when one of their starters goes out, it's a hole in the roster at this point
yeah.
as well. Schroeder, another role player that has done absolutely nothing this series except for make controversial posts on Instagram 2 seconds after the
Yeah,
game's over.
yep,
He's become the guy that nobody wants on your team. Nobody wants to play like because he's been that bad, but the Cavs have to play him.
yeah,
And so that's kind of been a little bit of an awkward situation to watch too. Um, the big thing with Cleveland though, man, is just their defense is just not good enough either.
yeah, yeah.
It hasn't
No,
been good enough.
yeah, not against this Knicks offense. And
No,
then
and go ahead.
yeah, yeah. Well, you can't discredit. I want to talk about Kenny Atkinson because what an abysmal, terrible coaching job. What
Hasn't been
just an
great.
awful. It's game 1 of the series. I think is probably the worst coach game I've ever seen. That fourth quarter was so terrible. We just acted like timeouts didn't exist. We overplayed every single one of our starters. It was very, very terrible. Even yeah, into overtime, it was bad. I don't think I've seen incompetent, like NBA coaching incompetence at that level.
It was bad. So the other thing to it is the biggest thing with Atkinson, I think that Cleveland fans are very upset about is why did he let Harden guard Brunson on an
Dart
island
Brunson, I know.
that entire comeback?
Yeah, no,
Now,
that's it.
I will say that not all of Brunson's shots were just easy. Like
No.
hit the shot making in that game was unbelievable. Like that is as good as shot making gets in the NBA. Period.
But
Um, but they
again,
still should have switched Harden off.
yeah, it's James Harden.
Yeah,
You put a traffic cone to the top of the key, and it's going to do about as about as good a job.
that
So
is
yeah,
a
and
wonderful
again,
comparison.
it's on Kenny Atkinson for not knowing, like for not switching that. And
Yeah,
again, no timeouts were called. It's just very terrible coaching.
yeah.
I told my buddy the other day. I said our high school coach, shout out Tony Nash. Tony Nash could have showed up to that game in the fourth quarter without any preparation beforehand, and would have done a better job coaching that
Right. Yeah. Shout out Tony Nash is right. Happy birthday, Coach T.
game.
Anyway, yeah, but that was just I don't think Atkinson has made up for it at all in any single way throughout these last 2 games either.
No.
You could see it in game 3, like just watching the pregame stuff, like Cleveland was a little bit hyped up and Atkinson like put a little bit of a spark in them, maybe. But at the end of the day, hype can only take you so far, and the better team is just going to win. It's
Yeah.
exactly what happened. I actually think it's going to be a gentleman's sweep. I think Cleveland's going to get one game just because the law of NBA series like this, the home team usually gets that one
So
game.
yeah,
But I don't know. I
I
mean,
I
The
think
Knicks
I
are just
yeah, I think the wind is completely out of Cleveland sails. They've played
yeah,
2 7-game series back to back. I
yeah.
think they're done.
Knicks are an absolute unit right now. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Um, One other thing that I really wanted to talk about as well, because we had originally planned to tape this after game two, and then we moved it to today. So I do want to go back to game two and just talk about the just one thing is the Josh Hart legacy game. Great performance by Josh Hart, on fire.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Um, and Cleveland did the double team Brunson thing.
Yep.
Let Hart do whatever he wants, which teams have done that before. But to your point of Atkinson is doing a terrible job. Right off the bat, Brunson read the defense. He dissected it, and they
Yep.
found Josh Hart, and thankfully Josh Hart was on his game, and it was huge for the Knicks. But if you're the coach of the Cavs, like if you see, Josh Hart has these games where people will leave him open, teams will leave him open, and he will just go
Yeah.
off. And so if I'm Atkinson in that scenario, I'm like, okay, this is not the night to leave Josh Hart wide open. So just to your
Yeah.
point, that's just another area I would never have done that.
Yeah, no, Hart had a great game 2. He's had a fairly good series. I'm notoriously, you know this, I'm not a huge on Josh Hart, just because of some performances he's fumbled in the
Hater.
past. But yeah, but no, he's showing up, and I will say I appreciated this from him game 2 is that he came out. I noticed he came out. He missed a lot of 3-pointers in the first quarter. He was shooting that corner three, shot it 3 or 4 times. He missed it. He wasn't super on the shot, right? But he made himself invaluable to the team in number one defense, and then number two rebounds. He was rebounding like a maniac that game. And then once Jalen Brunson started reading the defense, once he started getting the ball heavily, he kept taking those shots. He found his shot. He got hot. And so he kind of knew to keep shooting. He read the defense along with JB. And so, I appreciate it from ball players. Super high basketball IQ from Josh Hart. And so I can appreciate that about him.
Yeah. So just to close out the recap of the series, I do want to ask you 0 to 100%. What is the percentage of chance the Knicks have to win the title?
Um, I'll give it a cool 20%. 20% chance.
Okay. I'm gonna
That's
go.
allowing. Yeah, sorry. You go ahead.
I would say I'm gonna go 35, but explain
Okay.
yours.
Yeah, no, the 20, I would put it honestly against this OKC team. I'm very high on OKC. I would put it even lower, but 20% allowing for just number one injuries. God forbid Shea Gilgeous-Alexander gets hurt in the Spurs series, or just an incredible standout performance from all five of the Knicks starters to kind of clutch up. And but aside from that, yeah, I don't see them winning, but I'll give it a cool 20%.
Like I said, I'd give it a 35, and it is really tough to predict the finals. It's gonna be a tough series to predict because we did not have this Knicks team all year. We
No,
just got
yeah,
it a couple weeks ago.
yeah,
And OKC's been a train for the entire year now, so
yeah,
it's gonna be hard because obviously the natural thing you're gonna want to do is judge based on the old Knicks and the OKC we've seen all year. But I
yeah.
just think you have to judge this Knicks team differently now. I just think it's a whole different beast, which is why I'll give it a solid 15% more than you. Anyway, so OKC Spurs, game four is tonight. OKC up 2-1, kind of right where I predicted, where I thought the series was going to be at this point. Just a couple notes on game three. San Antonio came out of the gate on fire. I believe they opened the game on a 15-0 run.
They did. Yeah, they
Um,
did.
yeah, crowd was
Mhm.
going crazy, all that good stuff. The Thunder just settled in. They just started dissecting them. They were just the better
Yeah,
team the entire game. Um, you can see that Wemby tried to make his game more of an outside game because of the way that Hartenstein defended him in game two.
yep,
And I want to talk about that a little bit more here as well. But Wemby, Wemby was commanding the ball down the stretch. I don't want to say he wasn't, but down the stretch of that game, when the Spurs are like really trying to bring it back, but they just never got close enough. Wemby has to demand the ball, and Mitch Johnson has to tell his players, "Give Wemby the ball." You have a
yeah,
you have a cheat code out there, like a little 2K max 99
Yeah.
overall player out there. Give him the ball. That was kind of my takeaways from game 3.
Yeah, game 3 was number 1 was a great game to watch. But number 2, yeah, the Spurs team, I haven't been as high on Wemby as everybody else is. He's an unbelievable talent. He's great, and everything. But, I think Hartenstein has done, a fairly good job keeping him to, holding him in the paint, I think is why he went and played more outside the arc in game 3. And I agree with that assessment. He did play a lot outside the arc. I also agree with the assessment that they're not giving him the ball enough. You put the ball in Wemby's hands, he is going to score. That's just the reality of it. He's that freakish of a player. He's that tall, right? If you give him the ball 5 times out of 10 times, he's going to put the ball in the hoop.
Hmm.
So number one, give Wemby the ball. Secondly, this has been talked about everywhere, but Stephen Castle, he's putting on a really great performance, but you can't have that many turnovers. That's just
Exactly.
unacceptable. And as for the coaching, Stephen Castle's not a point guard. Stop playing. And um, I know, oh, what's the name? I'm blanking.
Harper.
Yeah, I know Dylan Harper got hurt. So I know you need a floor general, but Stephen Castle is not a point guard. Stop having him take the ball up at the top of the key. He's not. He's turning the ball over because his handles are not to the level that a point guard's handles are. Right? And so I think that they need to limit his time with the ball up the stretch,
Well, they
and
got Fox
then
back, and
yeah, they
Fox
did
did that a
get
lot in
Fox
game 3.
back. He did. He had a little bit of an ankle injury, game 3, so, I hope to see him back game 4. But even with Fox, the commentators were saying that it's gonna be a different series if, De'Aaron Fox gets back,
Yeah.
so that Stephen Castle can maybe, play his role a little bit more. And I don't think it made much of a difference just because of how good OKC is. Their defense has been great.
Uh-huh.
And, the biggest the biggest takeaway I have from OKC game 3 is how insanely deep the OKC bench is. It's
Hmm.
incredible. They have an elite 5-man squad on both sides of the bench. It's crazy. I think the coaching substitutions were played very well in game 3, and I think that even with J-Dub out, I think that they have the series on lock.
I agree that they have the series on lock. OKC's bench has been fantastic,
Yeah,
and we've all seen it from away. They just have these guys that you can just come in at any time during the game and lock down
yeah,
anybody else on the other team. Just incredible defense. The thing about OKC defense that did get to me, Hartenstein fouled Wemby probably 45 times in game 2.
yeah,
It was crazy. Now here's
yeah.
the thing though, and I'm gonna come to your side of this now because I know you're gonna take OKC's side. It it is hard. It is really tough to because clearly OKC now has a strategy of just pull on Wemby, make him tired. You saw Wemby
Yeah,
literally specifically warming up with his trainers who were pulling down on him for game 3.
yeah,
So the strategy is there. But OKC has now accepted like, hey, yeah, we're gonna foul Wemby. Um, but what are they gonna do? Call every possession? No, they're not gonna do that. And so they've just taken on that strategy now of, hey, let's foul Wemby, let's pull on him as much as we can. I did think Hartenstein should have gotten a lot more trouble for pulling Castle's hair than he did. Um, OKC is still flapping around on almost every shot, and it's annoying, but that doesn't. OKC is still the better team. I'm not gonna say that the flopping is changing the series at all. OKC is just a better team.
yeah. I'm gonna take not quite an opposite take, but you're right. I am going to lean more OKC on this, but I don't want to just give them everything because I think that because I love OKC. I'm not an OKC fan. I'm a Boston fan. I love watching the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think they play an elite level basketball, and so here's my take on the situation. Number one, Hartenstein was fouling Wemby. All right, that's plain as day. I'm not going to be delusional. That happened. Hartenstein should have fouled out of the game, probably near the beginning of the second half. I will give you that. On the other on the other side of the ball, though, Wemby had a couple foul and more than a couple fouls that were not called as well, playing defense as well.
I
Now,
agree.
he is a freak now, and I get it. But I also want to say that and this hasn't been indicative the whole series, but game 3, Spurs had a significantly better whistle than OKC did. A significantly tighter whistle than OKC did in game 3. Listen,
I don't agree.
I watched the game. The Spurs were getting a whistle every 4 seconds. I'm not even looking at the stats, but the amount that they were at the line, at the free throw line, was just insane, especially that second half.
It was more even
As
than game 2, that's for sure.
as for as for the flagrant one and the tech, I don't even know if you want to talk about it. Flagrant one, don't think it was a flagrant. I don't think it was a push. There was no forward motion on that play. I think he had his hand on his back. But the tech is what I'm really mad about because Vassell came up and shoved, and then who was it? It was it McCain, Jared McCain? Yeah.
No, it was,
Vassell came.
I think it was Mitchell, AJ Mitchell.
I don't think so. I think it was Jared McCain.
All right, you might be right. I don't know.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, whoever it was, AJ Mitchell, Jared McCain, whatever. Vassell comes up, shoves OKC's player because he's mad that Castle's on the ground, right? And then OKC's player, Jared McCain or AJ Mitchell, whatever one it is, extended his arm to stop the other player that's shoving him. And after that, the fight was broken up. The refs reviewed the play and gave each players a technical. That is a travesty. It's such a bad call.
So
So that I'm not really upset about that tech, and I do think the Spurs got a lot of bailout calls that game 3. I'm not trying to take OKC's side. I get that they get a good whistle for majority of their games, but I'm watching online all these OKC haters, all constantly going off about the refs. We cannot have blinders onto these things.
yeah, the OKC wrestling, it is getting way, way, way overblown. As far as like everyone just complaining all the time, it's like they would be they would be just as good without the whistle, which is like, okay, if you'd be just as good without the whistle, why do you need to flop? That's a separate
Yeah,
conversation. I'm just saying, and I've always said this about OKC is as annoying as the calls can be, they'd be just as good without them.
yep,
So let's not act like they're only good because they get all the calls. Is my point on it. Um, the thing with the tech, I would have with that thing. Typically, how the NBA handles those situations is they give both players a tech. But I'm saying usually you have to give either both players involved a tech or you give nobody a tech. It's very, very finicky just to give one player on those kind of plays, just one tech and call it good. That's
yeah,
that's all I would say about that.
yeah. No, and I understand that. I think the aggression was clearly one sided. I mean, he came up and it got shut. Like McCain or Mitchell, whoever it was on the other side of the basket after Castle was on the ground. There was no malice involved. He didn't flex on him. He didn't stand there over him. He literally, his momentum carried him to the other side of the basket, and then he got shoved by another Spurs teammate. That aggression is clearly one sided, and yeah, I think it was a bad call.
I do think
Um,
to take OKC side a little bit, I do think that Castle went down. He went up for the dunk weird, and he also came down for the dunk really weird.
yeah,
And he could have easily, when he came down off of that dunk or the missed dunk, he could have landed on his feet perfectly fine.
yeah,
In my opinion, and he just landed really weird, and it just
yeah,
made both plays, honestly, the way that Castle went up and went down made the play look a lot
yeah,
worse than it was. So
yeah.
I wouldn't have given anybody a tech, but I also wouldn't have
Yeah.
given one team a tech and then not another team, if that makes sense.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right, go ahead.
Yeah. As for the Shea thing, Shea was getting contact on that second half. Shea was getting where he kind of turned up. Shea was getting contact on every single one of those plays. I was watching Shea intently because I know people go hard at him, and every time flopping, flopping maybe but he's running into the contact. He's running into the contact and it's not like he's falling without any contact. He's going in. When he's going up for his shots, he's drawing contact on the shot. Usually it's on his body. All right. So this is not completely selling the foul. He is getting contact. Whether it's weak or not, it is a foul. And I think these whistles are justified for that. And I think that's part of what makes him a great player.
Okay. All right. Let's go to game time. This game, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, this is going to be hilarious. So
Yeah.
Game, real or fake, sports quotes edition. I'm going to recite 10 different quotes. You have to tell me if you think they're real or fake.
Yes.
If you get 7 out of the 10 correct, so 70%, you get to come up with a game for the next podcast episode.
Oh, I get that honor. Wow.
All right. Yes, sir. All right. Number 1.
Yep.
I'm really going to struggle to say these with a straight face. Number 1. From Chris Collinsworth. I know the public gets on me for loving Mahomes, so I might as well just say this and play along. If Patrick Mahomes was my quarterback, I would definitely try to kiss him in the locker room after he
Oh
won
my
me a game
god.
like he does every Sunday. Real or fake?
Oh, this is genuinely so hard because on one hand, I'm thinking there's no way that's reality. There's no way a professional sports commentator has said that. But then you say it's Chris Collinsworth, all right? And he is the one man on the planet who would say something like that. I'm gonna have to go fake.
It is fake.
Yeah, okay.
You are
Good.
correct. Collinsworth has said something similar, like admitting, not something similar, but he's like, I'll admit that I like Mahomes and that the public likes it, so I'll just go along with it.
Yeah.
Man, didn't stump you. Okay. Number 2, from a former NFL running back. I want to rush for 1,000 or 1,500 yards, whichever comes first.
That's true.
That is real. Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. This one. Oh, that was number 2 was from former Saints running back George Rogers, by the way.
Okay.
I
Okay.
didn't want to be specific or you'd definitely have gotten that right. So,
Yeah.
This one. Former college basketball legendary coach. If rape is inevitable, relax and enjoy it.
No. Oh, he would have gotten fired immediately, I feel like. I gotta go fake.
That is real.
No, no way. Who
That
said
is real.
that?
Bobby Knight.
Oh,
Most
Bobby.
legendary.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, Bobby
Yep.
Knight makes sense. Yep. Okay.
Okay. Next one.
He did that. Did he do what was he? Kentucky, right?
No, Indiana.
Indiana. Did he say that while coach, like while being a coach?
I believe he was employed, but at the time, don't quote me on
That is
that.
insane.
But yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Number 4 from NBA legend LeBron James,
Okay.
based off of his feud with Stephen A. Smith last year.
Yeah.
And after he walked up to Stephen A. during the game and confronted him about talking about Bronny.
Yeah.
If I saw Stephen A. in the bathroom at Crypto Arena after tonight's game, I would have taken my belt off and whipped him.
It's so geez. I've seen most things about this. Like I've done an internet rabbit hole on this beef. I'm gonna say fake.
That is fake.
Yes.
All right.
Woo.
3 for 4.
All right.
All right. From a former NBA legend. I have won at every level except for college and pro.
That's true.
That is real. Said by Shaquille O'Neal.
Yep, Shaq. Yep.
All right. This is another one. From Cleveland Cavaliers announcer. Jordan Clarkson almost came in my lap.
That's true.
That is real. That is real. I could not make a sports quote segment without including that one. All right, this one as well. Number 7, from Hornets announcer Eric Collins, the game after LaMelo crashed his Hummer a few months back.
Okay.
Hopefully LaMelo is much better tonight at driving the basketball than he is at driving his car.
Oh, watching the Hornets games, he would say that. But it was too fresh. I'm gonna say fake.
Dang it. It is fake. I thought I was going to get you with that one.
Yes.
All right. Looks like you get to come up with a game for next week's episode. But we do have 3 left still. All right, one more from NBA legend LeBron James. I believe when it's all said and done, Bryce James will have been my finest creation.
True.
That is fake.
Ah!
All
Is it
right.
close to something he said?
I don't think so, but I know he never
No?
said that.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
anyway, which that would just like imagine your 2 sons are coming to the NBA and like you just
Oh,
diss
I
the other one
know.
like that.
No, I know.
All right. Number 9 is going to be from an NBA star. I get my aura from Jesus Christ.
That's true. That's
That's
true.
true. Do you know who said it?
Yeah. I don't know.
Cade Cunningham said that.
Cade Cunningham. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say Shea, but yeah, that makes sense.
No, see, that is something
I
Shay would say
remember
though.
reading. Yeah, I remember reading that somewhere. So
All right, last one, and then I do want to ask if you've heard about the most recent quote, the Josh Hart quote. Anyway, number 10. He called me a rapist and a recluse. I am not a recluse.
I'm already safe, right? I already won.
He,
Um.
yeah. You're
Yeah.
8 for
Okay.
10.
Um. That can't be real. No fake.
That is real. Said by all-time heavyweight
Unbelievable.
boxer Mike Tyson.
Oh, that's unhinged.
Yeah, Unhinged is right.
Wow.
Did you see the Josh Hart quote while we're here?
No. What did he say?
Hang on. At a certain point, analytics are a lamppost to a drunk person. You
Oh no,
can
I
lean,
did say that. You can lean. Yeah, you can lean on him. Yeah, I did
but they
see
won't
this.
take you home. Just an absolute
Yeah.
all-time quote.
Yeah, I did see that.
I knew you would have
My
seen it, so that's why I didn't.
the funniest part about that is Kat's reaction to it.
Yeah, that was
The
an
camera
awesome press
pans
conference.
over. Yeah, that was great. I thought you were gonna do the um inch for inch. He's the greatest. He's the inch for inch. He's the greatest point guard in the league right
That
now.
was also a legendary press conference with Hart and Brunson.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
I
I
also
had
I
to
also thought
go ahead.
I also thought you were gonna do Stephen A's before I knew it, LeBron came in my face.
Yeah. There were a lot of them like those that I really wanted to include, but I knew that you would have heard them before, so
Yeah.
they were just too easy. But maybe someday we'll just have a segment where we just go through sports quotes and talk about them together. All right, great segment. All right, tough to recover after that one. So, on a more serious note, a couple NBA discussions. Number 1, NBA nostalgia. Does it exist? And if so, why does it affect today's modern NBA so much? You can go first.
All right. NBA. I'm not gonna speak a ton on the topic because number one, I wasn't alive for a lot of these eras, so I can't speak super intelligently on them. But I do know as a sports fan, I know enough to get in trouble. And NBA nostalgia 100% does exist. 100%. When you have a guy, you have a guy, we call them old heads now, but you have a guy who will sit and talk about the glory days, about Michael Jordan up, 10 feet in the air with his tongue out. And so it definitely exists. You have just, I think legends are just, I think everywhere. I think this happens everywhere. I think legends are romanticized in our culture. Just, you have someone who is great. You have, Michael Jordan, who most would say is the greatest of all time. You have Larry Bird, who people would say is the greatest trash talker of all time, right? You have Magic, who until Curry was, the best point guard of all time. So, Bill Russell with 11 rings.
Yeah.
Yeah, Will Chamberlain with the scoring record, right? So you have these you have these legends in sports history that people look back to and they're like, "Oh my gosh, these people were so good." So number 1, it definitely does exist. Now, to the second question, does it affect today's game? I believe that it does. I don't believe it does to the level that people think that it does. So, I think that I think that okay, there's a scene. I'm gonna kind of go off track here, but I need you to stay with me here. There's a scene. I'm a movie guy. There's a scene of
Mhm.
Batman Begins. Okay, it's at the very end of the movie. Batman's talking to the police chief Jim Gordon, and Jim Gordon asks him about upscaling, and he explains that he says if we buy semi-automatics, the bad guys will buy automatic. So what he's basically saying is everything's going to keep scaling up, right? If we get better, then the next person's going to get better, and if he gets better, then the next person's going to get
Exactly.
better, right? It keeps scaling up. Anyway, I use that illustration. This is how the NBA is, right? You have the league starting, and um you have Bill Russell who won 11 rings with the Celtics, but he was playing against tiny people. And the league
Tiny
had just
people.
started, right? They were shooting, they weren't, but they were shooting in a peach basket, right? So you have like the game had just started, and then you have the scoring record, 100 by Will. Well, he was the tallest guy on the floor at any given moment. He was Wembanyama before Wembanyama existed, right? Nobody was good at the game, and he was 7 feet tall. So and then you know, so and then you have Michael Jordan, who just came in and completely revolutionized the game just because of how he played, in the paint, inside the arc, right? And so nobody had seen that ability before. Michael Jordan comes in and he does it, right? And so then you have people emulating it, like Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant comes in and he's an insane guard. People call him the next Jordan. He was insane. And then you have people come in like Curry, who's changing the game, the 3-point line. Nobody's seen a shooter the level of Curry before. So my point is that the league keeps upscaling. You have Nikola Jokic, right? One of the greatest offensive players we've ever seen in the league. Now you have Victor Wembanyama, an absolute freak. And so since the league has grown, since people have began to love the game more, to get better at the game, to make the game their lifestyle, you have now we have more players coming in from overseas than have ever before, and now they're winning, MVPs and stuff at an elite level, and so you just have this upscaling of NBA nostalgia does exist, and I do, I totally respect, the good old days and when the league was, whatever this or that, but I think number one, it does exist. So it does exist and it does affect the game, but because of this upscaling, it doesn't matter. Michael Jordan was great, but Michael Jordan was great in his era. All right, LeBron James was great, is great, right? But you have SGA and Wemby coming up, and I think that in a few years, it's not going to be Michael Jordan and LeBron and Curry. It's going to be SGA and Wemby, right? So that's just the natural progression of these things. And I think nostalgia is good. I think it's good for the game to remember what was, but I don't think we can let it blind us to what is coming. And so that would be my response.
I like it. I agree with almost everything you said for sure. Um, it definitely exists, and the
Yeah.
people that don't think it exists, I would say this: it exists in every single other aspect of life.
Yeah.
Like all of us on a day-to-day basis remember situations and good things that happen to us, and we're naturally going to make them more dramatic in our head. We're going to make them better than they
Yeah.
actually were in the moment in our head. It exists.
Yeah.
So why all of a sudden when we're talking about the NBA does it not exist?
Yeah.
It just does. And I'm not going off of just the nostalgia argument either. The NBA app thankfully has old finals on there. You can go back and watch them, like I believe ever since the '80s. I've gone back and watched those games.
Yeah.
No thanks. No thank you. The ball movement is slow. The
Yeah.
the shot making is not good. Everyone is like, oh, the defense was so physical. It's really not as physical as it is in today's game. Just because when somebody goes in the paint, they get absolutely clobbered and hammered and their head tried to get taken off, does not make that game, that era more physical. Just the on-ball defense in today's game is just better in my opinion. You see
Yeah.
these old finals and it's just slow. It's slow ball movement. Like
Yeah.
there's nobody really trying to make a ton of steals, like get in front of passes or anything like that. It's just not my favorite. So I would say just by comparing game film, today's players are just so much better. And like you said, I've heard people refer to it as sportsflation. It
Or so,
happens
yeah.
in every single sport. Every single new era of athletes, a new generation of athletes is going to be better. They have more to learn from previous generations before. They have more equipment. They
Yeah.
have better game plans. Like everything just keeps getting better, and not just in sports. Like technology right now, it's advancing at a rate that ever since technology first started coming out with the big technology boom, like we are now getting AI in every single thing that is in our lives. Everything,
Yeah.
not just sports, every single area. Cars are getting more features. Um, just random stuff like that. Like it's all advancing. Everything is advancing. I'm not saying that society is better off than it was a long time ago because I wouldn't agree with that. But what I'm saying is that
Yeah.
people are learning more. We're doing better with what we're given and we're developing stuff more than we ever have before. And it's no different with basketball. It just exists. And I just really feel like a lot of these, we call them old heads, that your typical middle-aged white guy that is just loves nothing more than hating on today's NBA. I just
Yeah.
really feel like there's a lot of stuff about today's NBA that those kind of people would like if they just gave it a chance and didn't hate watch when the one time year that they do watch it. It's like
Yeah.
all the people that I hear that love to complain about today's NBA have not watched in like 20 years. It's like
Yeah.
you guys are not even giving it a fair shake. Um and if you do give it a fair shake, all you're doing is hate watching. And so
Mhm.
that's what I would say about that. I don't really know how you can say it doesn't exist would be my argument, but all right. Discussion number 2. Is the Eastern Conference better than the Western Conference? Is it going to become better than the Western Conference soon, the East? Or will the Western Conference be superior for the foreseeable future? Excuse me, if I could talk. Um, I'll go first on this one. I really think the West actually is going to be better than for the foreseeable future. We've heard a lot of arguments about the West is better right now, and it's going to be better for a while, is my opinion. I
Yeah.
don't think any team, I don't think any team for the next decade is going to even remotely in the Eastern Conference come close to what OKC and San Antonio are doing. Um, the East doesn't have a clear number one or number two either. It's like
Yeah.
everybody's used the argument of, well, the Eastern Conference. I mean, the teams you just don't know who's going to win because they're all so good and they're beating up on each other. No, that's actually a really good telltale sign that the conference is weaker than you think.
Yeah.
Because you just have a bunch of teams that are just not clearly definitively better than another one.
Yeah.
And that they're at a lower level than, teams in the West. The other thing with the West is with these two teams at the top, and this is my argument for the future, with OKC and San Antonio at the top, and they're going to be at the top for a while, it is going to make the teams that are directly under them, like Minnesota and Denver,
Yeah.
and Houston, it's going to make these teams aim for something higher, and it's going to naturally make them want to play to the level of the top two seeds in the West. So meanwhile, the teams in the East are like, yeah, we want to put together really good teams and make conference finals and make the finals, but the standard that we have to match to make the finals really isn't going to be as high for the next 10 years as it is going to be for the West. So I
Yeah.
think the West is just going to be better for a long time. Um, and that even is with the two teams at the top just being so as dominant as they are. So that's what I'd say about that.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly with everything you said. I think you gotta look at 2 facets. You gotta look at players and you gotta look at teams, which obviously that's what basketball is. But I think you have to look at standout players. So we have our SGAs, our Wembys, our Nikola Jokic, our Anthony Edwards, right? Um, the stars that are coming out of the West and that are leading these teams are just significantly better than the stars in the East. Now, you have the other side of it, which is the team, which I think is the bigger point because SGA and Wemby are great, and I think they are the best in the league. But I think if you put them pound for pound against Jokic, against Donovan Mitchell, against Cade Cunningham, against Jalen Brunson, against Jalen Brown, I think
Jokic is in the
that
West.
it's no, I know he's in the West. I'm just
Oh,
naming all stars. Anthony Edwards is in the West as well.
I
Um,
gotcha.
Yeah, that I think if you put these players up together, I think pound for pound, they actually might be a little closer than we would think, right? I don't think SGA blows any of those players out of the water. And I don't even think I think Wemby, aside from height, doesn't even blow these players out of the water just based on scoring ability, which is why we got to look at the teams. SGA and Wemby and the Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs are so good at what they do because of the team that they're on, right? The team chemistry. OKC is great, not just because SGA is an unbelievable talent, which he is, but because he plays with this roster of guys that are good, that are close, that are great defensively, that protect him, that protect the ball, right? That play offense at an elite level. That's why they're so good. When you come over to the East, and the Spurs are the same way. When you come over to the East, you don't see team basketball on the level that you're seeing it in the West. I would even the Denver Nuggets and the Timberwolves, I would say, are playing better basketball than the teams in the East, aside from maybe the New York Knicks. I think that the Boston Celtics, obviously, they were my number one pick. We got a reality check. We just do not
Yeah,
play basketball at the level that they're playing it in the West. And that is heartbreaking. The Detroit Pistons, they got the number one seed in the East. That's great for them. Cade Cunningham is unbelievable. Their defense was great. Shout out to Sar Thompson. But they are not playing basketball at the level that teams in the West are playing it. Now, I think now that the Cavs, again, are a great team. They have a great starting five. The Philadelphia 76ers, they have an elite starting five, right? These teams should be playing basketball at a crazy level, but they just are not playing to the level of these teams in the West. And it's just how it is, right? And so I think the only contender that we have is the New York Knicks. And I think that this finals is going to be number one. I'm glad we're discussing this because the number one reason the finals to me is this OKC Spurs series. All right. That is kind of my NBA finals. The reason that I'm so excited to watch the East and the West play, it is going to be an insane thermometer about the difference between this East and West, right? We're going to find
agreed.
out if the New York Knicks truly are playing basketball at a level that can keep up with teams in the West are playing it because nobody else has come to match that temperature. So
Right.
that would be my take on it. Yeah,
Yeah, I completely agree. I think if you put OKC and San Antonio against the Knicks, obviously it would be a million times better of a series than the Knicks and Cavs. Um,
yeah,
I'm looking at the standings right now. I'd put Denver, Minnesota, and Houston. If either of those three teams were playing in the Eastern Conference Finals right now, the series would be way closer.
yeah,
Um, I would, if the Lakers were healthy, I'd put the Lakers in there as well. I mean, when the Clippers are being the Clippers, I'd put them in there as well. But obviously, the Clippers, whole different story. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, no, I agree with everything you said. Just the fact of what I just said. Like you put four of the teams in the West that are sitting at home right now against the Cavs who went to the conference finals. Like they're gonna beat Cleveland. Cleveland barely
yeah,
beat Toronto. One of the weakest five seeds. They beat Detroit in 7. But I completely agree with everything you said. And last thing I want to address is the fans of a certain state that we are blessed to live in, um, coming trying to come at me this week and be like, "Y'all are lucky you're playing Cleveland. We would have whipped your butt." All right, let's just pause. All feelings aside, let's pause for 2 minutes here and just use some logic, okay? You guys, Cleveland beat you guys in 7 games, and they whipped you in Game 7, and we're about to sweep that team. It's the same team.
yeah,
Like, let's just be logical here. You were not going to whip our butts. I don't care about the regular season. It's different. You guys had the regular season last year. You don't have it. You had it this year as well. That does not mean a thing. Clearly, it doesn't mean anything. If the
yeah,
regular season meant anything, you guys wouldn't be sitting at home right now, not watching your team play. So, stepping down off my
yeah.
soapbox. That's what I have to say about that. All right.
Yeah, no, yeah, sorry. Logic would dictate that, you choked against the Cleveland Cavaliers. You're not beating the New York Knicks. You're just not. So,
Exactly.
yeah, it's an insane take to have. I don't care if you're better defensively. Detroit is a better defensive team, but they've choked all playoffs. They went to 7 games with the Orlando Magic with a hot and cold Paolo Banchero, and then they lost in a 7-game series to Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah. Yep. Completely agree. So, and I know this is a myth that apparently I need to have a whole monologue about debunking. It's not that I hate Pistons fans or anything like that. It's just that I unfortunately live in Michigan, and so I hear most of the chatter around NBA from them, and so I don't really hear it from other states naturally as much. So I'm just gonna call out what I hear in Michigan. So
Yeah.
that is it for NBA stuff. But I do want to do culture check now. We previewed this last week. Said we were gonna do it this week. I really like having segments that can just kind of step away from sports for a minute. Just have like a real talk about things that are going around in the world, like culture, stuff like that, just certain situations. So the segment for today is going to be on social media, and the question that I have, um, is social media destroying our culture? Why or why not?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah. Number one, you have to define what culture means. So, if we're talking the American, the American dream, the American ideal, what people think of when they think America, or our Western culture in general.
Yeah.
I would say that it's having an effect. I don't know about destroying. Now culture again, if we're defining it as the world, as what the world kind of takes of as humanity, culture, humans working together, humans interacting with each other, I would say yes, 1000%. It is destroying culture. So I'll kind of attack it from two different sides here. For the broader thing, for humans and humans interacting, just being people talking to each other. I think that social media is giving everyone a platform, and I think that's a dangerous thing because there's a lot of stupid people out in the world.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I think everyone having a platform is a bad idea because, and then if everyone has a platform, then a platform doesn't really matter. So um, everybody can hide behind a screen and kind of say what they want without
Hmm.
any consequences. I think that's I think that's dangerous, and I think it is. I think it's doing a lot of harm. I think people are more mad, more angry than they've ever been because of stuff that they're seeing other people say on social media. I think that again, like I said, everybody is entitled to have their own opinion. That's great. That's free will. Everybody can have an opinion they want. Everybody airing that opinion out is a different story altogether. When mom down the street can put up on social media that this is sports podcast, that some guy in sports said something she didn't like without any knowledge of the game, without any knowledge of the person, and then just go off on that person and create a following based on that. That's dangerous.
Hmm.
Um, so I would say that it is making us more of an angry people, just humans in general. I think that it's putting dividers between people, and I think that that's bad. So that would be the broad angle. As for American culture, I think American culture has always been defined by freedom of speech and freedom in general to kind of do whatever you want. Mm. And I think social media is the highest form of that, in the sense that with social media, you really can do, say, think, post whatever you want with little to no repercussion. And so I
Hmm.
think that that's kind of where the American ideal of freedom, I think, gets a little dangerous, because when it's taken to that far extent, I think that we have what we have now with social media. But I do think that social media is very American, in the sense that I think it fits our culture because everybody is getting to say whatever they want and think whatever they want. And that has been in America's DNA since the very founding. So
So I was going at it from the second side of like what you were saying, like just normal interaction, human to human.
yeah,
But I completely agree with everything you said. Like completely agree with it. So I'm gonna tackle it from the second side you said. Not just here in America, but I think this is just some natural fallouts of social media, just with anywhere you use it, right? And of course, different
yeah.
countries have different limitations on it, and stuff like that. But here's where I'll start. Social media has completely reshaped our values,
Mhm.
like completely reshaped them. Like, so for most of human history, right? Respect came from for the men. It was go out and winning wars, like being a warrior. But for history, respect came from skill, wisdom, character, how much you could contribute to society, stuff like that. Now, what recognition and what respect comes from is attractiveness, how viral you can get, how funny
Yeah.
you are. Just completely reshaped our values. Performance is a big one too, like how well you can perform at something. And that, it's just created so many just fake expectations. Like people are naturally going to be gifted in different areas, and you see people that are going to be gifted in one area wanting somebody else's gift, and to do what they do. It's just not going to happen. Famous people are famous for a reason. Not everybody's going to be famous, and it's just creating a lot of bad expectations. And you see a direct link to it with anxiety and suicide and just drug abuse and stuff like that. You see a direct link with it, and it's really not an accident. It's not at all. Um, Algorithms they don't reward what is good for society, not at all. They reward
Yeah.
what keeps people scrolling. So outrage, huge one. Like you
Yeah.
said, everybody just gets so mad on social media now. Conflict is huge, and people just are addicted to this stuff, and just addicted to the toxicity that social media brings. I don't think
Yeah.
social media in and of itself is bad at all. I really don't. I think it's a tool that can be used for very good things, and I have seen it used for very good things. I just think there's a lot of people out there that are just not using it for the right reasons. Now, the reason that I know that I am active on social media, so it might sound crazy coming from me. I'm on social media just for sports, just to have clarity. If sports didn't exist, I wouldn't have social media. That's what I would say about that though. The other thing is social media encourages fakeness and it shows away genuine and real qualities of people. So before social media existed, you would compare yourself. And I'm not saying that comparing yourself to other people is the way to go at all. But what I'm saying is the comparison when it did happen is you're comparing yourself to people that you see on the day to day, right? So coworkers, just
Yep.
friends in your life, stuff like that. Maybe I don't know, just a friend at church, stuff like that. People that you see on the day to day, like family member. Now, like to go off of what I said previously, people are comparing themselves to celebrities, millionaires, people that are going out and getting all kinds of surgeries and making their bodies look way better than they were to begin with. And it's all the time. It happens all the time. And the problem is that people are still comparing themselves to other people in their lives and like friends that are close to them, but that's not your life.
Yep.
It's just not. Your life is just not going to be the same as somebody else's. And so
Mhm.
when people are making these comparisons and having these unrealistic expectations, it's just leaving them with nothing but a feeling of inadequacy. The ironic thing about social media to me, that's that as far as it goes to like self-esteem and depression and suicide, is you see all these people that are posting on social media trying to give out good self-esteem, be good influencers. The problem with that is that the chase of happiness and the chase of fulfillment and satisfaction is a paradox. Because if you're telling yourself that you need satisfaction and joy and happiness and that you need these things, simultaneously you're telling yourself that you don't have it.
Yeah.
And so that's the other thing is like influencers, I'm not a huge fan. I'm just not. Um because that creates fake comparison as well. So that's what I had. I don't know if you had I don't know if you had anything else. Oh, my last thing, obvious one that you said, it's just destroying our ability to communicate with other people. Like
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it too. I am way more addicted to my phone than I should be. You know, you just come off to people as rude, and that you don't care, and that because people walk by you and they try to say something. Oh, I was on my phone. I had my AirPods, and I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Like just that kind of thing. It's just killing
Yeah.
our ability to communicate with other people. And I actually think that I think social media has really driven the spike in church attendance recently
Yeah.
because people are so used to this fakeness on social media and on their phones all week long that they want something genuine. You see this with people. People are hurting. They want something genuine, and I really think that,
Yeah.
church is obviously the most perfect place you can ever go for that.
Yeah.
It doesn't get more genuine than Jesus, obviously, and so that's those are my thoughts about it. I think it's creating more problems than not, and it's not in and of itself bad, but it's just the hands that the tool is in right now are just not good. So
Yeah, no, I really like your point about happiness, and, I like what you said about chasing happiness because it is a paradox, and that happiness has to be found in something. It can't be chased because, you'll be chasing it your entire life, right? So people people have to find their happiness in something that already exists around them. Now, me and
Mhm.
you are, are Christians, so we would say that that is, Jesus Christ. We would find our happiness in the person of Christ, right, and what He's done for us, and how we can live based on that. But even if you're not and you're not a Christian, you can't chase you can't chase your happiness based on something you're seeing, right? So some people
Right.
and their happiness in their money, right? Now, it's not what I would say to put your happiness in, but at least you're not searching for something that's never coming to you, right?
Mhm.
You have to look around and you have to appreciate, and this is the whole, you have to be content, right? You have to look around and see what you have and place your joy in something that is around you. If you're always looking at something for the future for your happiness, it's always going to be in the future. You're never going to have it, right? So, and I think that social media is indicative of that, and it's huge because while you're on social media, you're always looking at something that's not around you, right? The whole idea of
Mhm.
social media is what's going on where I'm not, right?
Yeah.
How can I escape from like my reality at this present? And is the whole idea behind social media. So I think
Mhm.
that we're constantly looking for something away from where we are presently. Nobody is living in the moment anymore, and so it's impossible to find your happiness in the moment if you're constantly looking out of the moment. So I think that's a great
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. And it's like I said, I'm the most guilty of all of the things we're talking about. Like I'm just way too addicted to
Yeah,
my phone. I need to get better about that and stuff like that. So kind of preaching to the choir here, as to preaching to myself here. But I completely agree. It's just, and honestly, the most of the points that I had are just from personal experience. Like we personally experience this stuff every day. I mean, we're young guys, and we're right
yeah,
in that sweet spot of where most people are at their peak with social media. So I completely agree with that. Really good segment. Tristan, thanks for hopping on, man. We
yeah.
should.
Thanks.
When are you headed out of state here?
We got out of state Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning.
Mm, Yeah,
Okay.
so be doing a summer ministry down at a Christian camp. So shout out that. I'll still be tuning
Yeah.
into all the games, all the sports. I'll be watching the finals. I'll be free on the weekends to talk some ball with my buddy Matthew. So I'm excited.
Awesome, man. Well, in honor of Coach G's birthday, we're just gonna leave you with this quote to go off of our last segment. If you approach life with gratitude, you cannot lose. Tristan, have a good day, sir. Thank you, man.
Yeah, you too. Good to see you. Bye.